behind, exposed, and that's just a dangerous play.
Oh, Perron was belted by Thornton as he came out of the box, and he's down. Now Proner's upset. That's from behind. There's no question the hit is from behind.
Certainly the league is going after any shot that's even intended for the head.
Nailed in the number. Well, you can be as mad as you want, but this is a filthy play along the boards.
The league will certainly look at that hit, Pat. They always look at everything, and that certainly was a hit to the head.
From dirty hits to blatant headshots, from the NHL and professional ranks to youth hockey and the recreational level, violent hits are resulting in more and more injuries, and the number of concussions is growing. We have seen the NHL mandate a crackdown on headshots with the recent suspension of Matt Cook, a repeat offender when it comes to dirty hits, but this is nothing new to the league, and these are far from isolated incidents. We as sport managers have to ask ourselves if there is anything we can do to reduce the commonality of injuries and hits like these, and if we can still promote a hard, physical, competitive game while emphasizing respect that almost seems lost when we look at cases like this. To begin, I'd like to take a look at youth hockey.
First, we have a study conducted by Williamson and Goodman, which was reported in the Journal of ASTM International. This was a volunteer study conducted in 2009. The main goal of this study was to take a look at concussions in youth hockey, primarily focusing on the number of concussions which were reported. This study concludes that out of all the concussions that were reported, more than half of them were due to penalties that should have been called but weren't. Only about 20% of the concussions were caused by illegal hits that were actually whistled as a penalty. From this study, it is clear that the majority of severe head injuries are a result of an illegal hit, but what is astounding to me is that most of these hits go uncalled. This is important to keep in mind when trying to figure out how we can reduce the number of illegal hits in the game today. The next study that I would like to take a look at is one completed by Richard Greenwald. Greenwald's study consisted of 16 bantam-age players ranging from 14 to 15 years of age. He rigged them with helmets that had a mechanism which took biochemical measurements as they relate to severe head impact, and he filmed the players for 54 games using a single camera. From this, he was able to capture a total of 665 collisions. In using this footage, he classified them as either legal or illegal collisions. Of these 665 collisions, 17.3% were deemed to be illegal in nature, 3% were boarding or charging, 2.9% checking from behind, and 11.4% were elbowing, intentional hit to the head, or high sticking. So we can see that even when it comes to illegal hits, the ones that can be labeled as headshots still hold the majority. Though this study did not conclude whether a penalty was assessed, the findings report that illegal hits as a whole result in higher head trauma than legal body collisions as it relates to linear acceleration and head impact severity. From this study, it is evident that even in youth hockey, illegal hits are commonplace, and they result in more severe injuries than those sustained from legal body contact. We are then left with the question, so what can we do? In a study to test the effectiveness of the Playing Tough and Clean program, a program designed to help youth players keep their emotions in check during the game, 3 youth players were observed. These players had a history of aggressive behavior on the ice, and after completing the program, the study was able to conclude that there was in fact a slight reduction in aggressive actions on the ice. But there has to be more, right? It is illogical to think that every youth hockey player could or should be put through a program like this, so what else is there? Research has been done, and the general consensus seems to be to place more emphasis on sportsmanship and fair play. From coaches to parents, it is important that youth players are aware that it is okay to play physical as long as it is within the rules of the game. There is also a responsibility on the referees and the leagues to enforce the rules and to establish set disciplinary guidelines for instances when physical play crosses the line into dirty, illegal territory. But headshots and concussions are not only prominent in youth hockey, they are far too often occurrences in the NHL, especially as of late. This topic brings up much debate among riders, GMs, and fans alike. There are incidents like when Steve Downing hit Dean McCammond up high and a fight ensued, leaving Senators enforcer Brian McGrattan beating up on a defenseless Downey at the bottom of a scrum that raised the question, if fighting is a part of the game and oftentimes encouraged, is it a double standard to punish players for headshots when the intent is the same, to hurt the other person? Then there are cases like Matt Cook, who in 2010 was not suspended for a blatant headshot on Mark Savard, whose career may now be in jeopardy because of recurring concussion problems. Most recently was Cook's hit on Ryan McDonough, resulting in Cook being suspended for the rest of the 2011 season, as well as the first round of the playoffs. Because of this and other examples of headshots, the NHL's GM sat down to decide what to do to reduce the number of headshots in the game. They ultimately concluded they would not revise the rules of the game, and instead they will be stricter when it comes to in-game penalties, as well as having longer suspensions for the hits of this nature.
To conclude, it is up to us, and as sport managers, we must be consistent, precise, and as we have learned in class, stay true to our values and goals when we deal with issues such as headshots and concussions in professional and youth hockey. I'm Doug St. Martin.